Today we're going to talk about issue number 7 of Storm from the Ashes, written by Mirwa Ayadil and art by Miwa Ayadil. So, with that said, this issue opens on the far reaches of the universe in the near future, with the Silver Surfer arriving on a battlefield full of fallen warriors. As he hovered over the graveyard, he leaned over and picked up a dart blade and said, "You have fought well. Please allow me to borrow your weapon to borrow your strength and add it to mine." And with no hesitation, the surfer rammed the weapon into his board. And on the next page, we then see the surfer consumed in a black new look, as a narrator says, imbued with both the power cosmic and the fiery fury of Sitter's Twilight Sword. Norrin Rad is one of the most powerful beings in the universe, the Silver Surfer Soot. He has the strength to rip through a black hole cluster, the stamina to battle a pantheon of gods for 1,000 years, and the ability to traverse the vacuum of deep space at speeds faster than light, more durable than diamond, but nevertheless remarkably endowed with self-restoration. Yet this being whose presence alone strikes fear into the hearts of trillions answers to an even greater power, Galactus, the devourer of worlds. With a raging appetite, he consumes our entire galaxy. Stars and planets combined would not quell the hunger of this insatiable behemoth. But even the cosmic ravager known as Galactus answers to another, the universe plague, the Black Winter, the devourer of realms, the rotor storm. Enders before they can reach our universe must pass through the oblivion void. Many Enders who have dared try have met their swift ends instead at the hands of the most powerful of the primordial, Oblivion. Oblivion, the always been, the always will be Oblivion, the fearsome cosmic Leviathan. But on Earth, Storm risks a swift end as well as she faces a fearsome serpent of her own, a green anaconda surging with the maddening effects of tainted super soldier serum, and it hungers for mutant flesh. Which is where this story picks up. And speaking of picking up, this issue starts off in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, with both Storm and Omega Maggot battling the creature. And during this fight, we see that Maggot is doing his thing while still recovering from his fight against Juggernaut. So, as Maggot fell back, Storm kicked it into overdrive and chased the serpent through the water as she tells herself, "We do not have the time for this creature. You're cold-blooded and need to go to sleep already." And right as Storm let loose a winter blast, we rewind a little several days prior to Iron Man meeting with our hero. And during their conversation, Tony starts off by saying, "You need a better security system." Now this led Storm to reply with, "You need to stop sneaking lady friends into the sanctuary to show off my baby hippos." Though with Tony's secret out, Tony then went on to say, "It's not that it's that you don't do well with secrets. I didn't think you would learn I sneak into your home and not do anything about it." Though with this conversation going nowhere, Storm closed her eyes and said, "I'm going back to bed, Tony, and yes, I have a mattress. I don't just float in the air when I sleep." And funny enough, Tony shot back with, "That's not what the Black Panther told us." Now this got on Storm's nerves because she replied by saying, "It's too early in the morning for these mind games. Last time I asked for your assistance on a mission, I gave a press release about our findings. You need my assistance now, but you're worried I will do the same thing. You want to know where I stand with keeping secrets." With that out there, Tony just looked at her and answered with, "This is where you tell me where you stand with them." And like a goddess, Storm stood tall and said, "Does it matter? I can perceive the cosmic dust radiating off you. I presume you've tried and failed to locate Thor. I'm your last hope." Now with that made clear, Tony just looked on and said, "This isn't an Avengers mission. I can't even tell you who the mission is for. So I swear if this gets out, I'm publishing your browser history. And if it's not scandalous enough, I'll add some of Maggot's into the mix." And then he went on to say, "I need you in Brazil for reasons I can't share with you. We're working with a group of mad scientists there to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America. The samples were lost during transit, a weather anomaly. We also lost a good man to the Amazon rainforest. We need to retrieve his remains for his family. We need to recover his samples of the serum before they fall into the wrong hands. And we need the weather anomaly in Brazil investigated and taken care of. We've tried everything except a storm god." So, with that explained, we then see Storm on the next page completely electrocuting the serpent. So, with that creature destroyed, Maggot came running up and shout, "You cremated the whole damn snake." Fetching the pilot's undigested cadaver for his family to bury was the major reason we took this damn job. But regardless of what Maggot said, Storm just answered him by saying, "You kept up with my speed, yet you're not out of breath, nor is your heart rate elevated." Now to that, Maggot looked on in confusion and said, "What does that have to do with the mission going teats up?" That is when Storm states that she wasn't the one who electrocuted the snake, and in fact it was someone else's doing. That is here. On the next page we see a god by the name Mama Reagan, a Stratopilia, the regurgitator of tempests. As this deity stood before them, Storm points out how all the air molecules around them have been replaced with solely oxygen molecules, as a figure appeared in the sky behind them, coming in hot. Sango, another god, let out yet another attack in Storm's direction that was just a distraction to create an opening for yet another god by the name Susanu. So, as these three electric base gods converge on our heroes, they did all they could to hold their ground. In the attempt to spare Maggot from this battle, Storm quickly grabbed hold of him and used her control over wind to get her friend out of dodge. And as he flew, Storm told Maggot he knows what to do for our goddess. We're far from getting better because a fourth god arrived on the scene by the name check and also went on the attack. With this match heavily stacked against Storm, the narrator went on to say, "When you are a self-proclaimed storm god, what do you do when the real ones come for you?" With that question posed, we then see Storm trying to run just to be snatched out of the sky and slammed into the ground as Jack states, "A storm god who retreats is shameful." Though a Storm lay all but defeated, she remembered what Voodoo said to her, which was, "You are a descendant of a sheikh. You share blood with Agamotto, the first sorcerer supreme. What would you do if your mutant abilities were taken from you?" At that moment, Storm's eyes grew dark, and she erupted with magic and bound several of the gods to the ground, and the fourth charged her, and with an outstretched hand, our woman grabbed hold of a blade and said, "From today on, sleep with your eyes wide open," and brought down a gigantic burst of electricity on her opponent. So, with that fight dealt with, Storm informed Maggot to call Iron Man and tell him his weather anomaly will soon come to an end. And then told him to tell Tony, "I will bring him the remains of the pilot even if I have to sieve through every flake of ash in that jungle." So, with anger in Storm's heart, she shouted, "Fetch me my armor and blade, I'm going god hunting." But that was cut short when a voice from behind her said, "Storm gods in their fury, but Thor must say thee nay." And on the last page, we see Thor arrive on the scene with his hammer in hand. And with that said, this issue of Storm comes to an end. Now, down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moved forward. So, with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.